Because she embraces her uniqueness, she attracts people who value authenticity and depth, and she naturally repels those who prefer superficiality or conformity. This selective energy creates a circle that supports her growth rather than drains it. She doesn't feel the need to explain herself or seek acceptance because she's already accepted herself fully. This self-acceptance gives her a magnetic quality that draws others in, not because she's trying to be liked, but because she is truly comfortable in her own skin. Her refusal to conform is not just a personal stance, it's a subtle form of rebellion against a society that often pressures women to fit into narrow roles. This dedication to being herself often means she walks a lonelier path, but she finds freedom in that solitude. She knows that the cost of losing herself in the approval of others is far greater than any temporary discomfort of standing alone. Her uniqueness also manifests in the way she approaches challenges and opportunities. She doesn't follow the usual routes or play by the standard rules. Instead, she trusts her intuition and creativity to carve out new paths, often surprising others with her unconventional solutions and fresh perspectives. People may not immediately understand her choices, but over time, her authenticity and innovation become undeniable. She leads by example, showing that there is strength in being different and that success is not about fitting a mold, but about breaking it. A Sigma woman embraces her uniqueness in a world that often values conformity above all else. She refuses to be boxed in by societal expectations, labels, or stereotypes. Instead, she celebrates what makes her different, knowing that her individuality is her greatest strength. This isn't about being rebellious for the sake of rebellion. It's about honoring the essence of who she truly is, even when that means standing apart from the crowd. She understands that fitting in is overrated and that true power comes from unmistakableness, unapologetically. From her style and interest to her values and ways of thinking, she cultivates a life that reflects her personal truth rather than what others expect of her. She doesn't chase trends or try to mirror what's popular because she knows that authentic expression can never be popular replicated. Her intuition is a form of quiet power. It allows her to navigate life on her own terms, to dodge chaos, and to rise above the traps others fall into. It's what keeps her ahead without being loud, and why she often arrives at the right place at the right time. People may not understand how she knows what she knows, but she doesn't need them to. She just follows the truth that lives inside her, and that truth rarely leads her wrong. When something resonates with her soul, she doesn't need every detail to make the move. And when something feels off, no amount of rationalization will convince her to stay. This level of self-trust often baffles people, especially those who require constant reassurance before acting. What's even more powerful is that she's learned to protect and sharpen her intuition. She doesn't drown it in noise or ignore it for the sake of convenience. She spends time in reflection, silence, nature, whatever grounds her and brings her closer to herself. She values her alone time not just for rest, but because that's when her inner voice speaks loudest. In a world full of distractions, she has learned to tune in instead of tuning out. That's why she seems so grounded, so wise, so mysteriously certain about things most people are still questioning. She may not always confront someone outright, but she quietly distances herself, protects her peace, and reroutes her energy where it's respected. Her intuition also makes her an excellent decision maker. While others are paralyzed by overthinking or caught up in opinions and options, she taps into a deeper knowing. She knows when it's time to leave a job, end a relationship, change direction, or take a leap of faith, even if the timing seems strange or no one else understands. Her decisions are not based solely on logic or emotion, but on alignment. A Sigma woman is deeply intuitive, and this intuition is not some vague concept. It is a powerful, finely tuned inner compass that guides her through the chaos of life with precision and grace. She doesn't just see what's on the surface, she senses what lies beneath. She picks up on energy, unspoken truths, and subtle cues that others overlook. When something doesn't feel right, she doesn't need a lengthy explanation. Her instincts speak loudly and clearly, and more often than not, she listens. That trust in her gut is one of her greatest strengths, and it's what allows her to move through the world with such confidence, even when walking uncharted paths. Her intuition helps her read people quickly and accurately. She can sense when someone's intentions are misaligned with their words. She knows when a smile is hiding envy, when kindness is masking control, or when charm is a tactic rather than sincerity. This absence of neediness makes her mysterious. People often wonder how she remains so composed, so centered, so unapologetically herself. The answer is simple. She learned early on that the most dangerous kind of power is the kind that doesn't beg to be acknowledged. The Sigma woman is that kind of power. She walks into every room with her head high, not because she needs to be seen, but because she already sees herself. And that is what makes her unforgettable. She doesn't over-explain herself to feel acceptable, and she certainly doesn't wait for someone to tell her she's enough. She already knows she is, with or without recognition. This inner certainty allows her to take bold risks, to walk away from what doesn't serve her, and to rise in spaces where others crumble under the pressure of public opinion. She's not performing for anyone. She's building for herself. Even in relationships, whether romantic or platonic, she is not driven by a need to be constantly reassured. She appreciates love, loyalty, and respect, but she doesn't rely on them to define her. She gives from a place of wholeness, not lack. And when she leaves, she doesn't crumble. She recalibrates and keeps moving. She knows that losing someone who didn't truly see her is not a loss. It's a redirection. This doesn't mean she's arrogant or refuses feedback. It means she's discerning. She listens, but she filters. She accepts only what resonates with her values and lets the rest fall away. Because she's not desperate for external approval, she cannot be easily manipulated, guilt-tripped, or controlled. And that, to many, is unsettling. People who rely on power dynamics, flattery, or criticism to influence others quickly realize that none of it works on her. Her refusal to seek validation gives her freedom, a rare, unshakable freedom. She wears what she wants, speaks how she feels, creates what she believes in, and lives how she chooses. She doesn't water herself down to be digestible. A Sigma woman does not seek validation, and that single truth changes everything about how she moves in the world. She is not looking for applause, approval, or agreement. Her self-worth isn't tied to compliments, likes, or whether others understand her choices. She validates herself through her own standards, her own principles, and her own vision of who she is becoming. This makes her profoundly independent, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. She doesn't need to be seen to feel valuable. She doesn't need to be agreed with to feel confident. She's already done the internal work of recognizing her value, so no one's opinion can make or break her. From a young age, she likely realized that chasing validation is a losing game. Because no matter how much you give or how well you perform, the goalposts always shift. So instead of adjusting herself to please others, she decided to please She's already learned this from her mother. She's already learned this from her mother, and she's so patient. And even though she can stand alone, she is not closed off. She loves deeply, but selectively. She connects with others who match her energy, her values, and her depth. But she never clings. She does not need anyone to complete her. She's already whole. Anyone who walks beside her must be an addition, not a lifeline. The world often tries to shame women for choosing solitude over submission, independence over dependence, or self-respect over validation. But the Sigma woman refuses to shrink herself just to fit into someone else's idea of worth. She doesn't fear solitude because she knows that all her power is born there. While others run from themselves, she runs toward herself. While others seek identity in groups, she cultivates hers in quiet spaces. And because she can stand alone, she is free. Free from manipulation, free from fear, and free to rise in ways that others can't even imagine. She is as absolutely powerful as the man she true loved from, and free to find her own ways. The sooner you feel this empowerment, the sooner it will flow through you. She doesn't need constant company to feel relevant or important. She is not afraid of her own silence. In fact, it's in that silence that she hears her most honest truths. She's comfortable doing things on her own, whether it's pursuing a dream, traveling, making tough decisions, or walking away from relationships that no longer serve her. She doesn't wait for consensus or permission. She does not living for applause. Her choices are guided by alignment, not approval. This makes her intimidating to those who rely on groupthink or external praise to validate their existence. Being able to walk alone is not just a strength, it's a declaration of self-trust. She knows who she is, where she's going, and what she's willing to accept along the way. She would rather walk a lonely road in truth than follow a crowded path into regret. Her independence is not a performance. It is a necessity for the life she's building. A Sigma woman is not afraid to walk alone. In fact, she often prefers it. While the world constantly promotes belonging, groups, cliques, and social validation, she moves to her own rhythm, guided by an internal compass rather than external noise. Solitude doesn't scare her, it strengthens her. She understands that being alone and being lonely are two very different things. She chooses solitude, not out of bitterness, but out of a desire to protect her energy, recharge her spirit, and hear her own thoughts clearly. In solitude, she reflects, plans, heals, and evolves. There is a kind of peace she finds in her own company that others are still chasing in crowds. People often mistake her focus for coldness, but they don't understand the sacrifices she's made to protect her peace. They don't see the inner strength it takes to delay gratification, to rise early, to walk away from drama, and to build quietly. Her discipline is an act of love for herself, for her purpose, and for the life she's creating. It's the reason she seems so untouchable, so grounded, so composed. And it's one of the many reasons why she cannot be easily underestimated. She has built herself from the inside out, and nothing that comes from the outside can shake what she has forged within. She doesn't wait to feel motivated to act. She acts because she knows her goals deserve follow-through, not excuses. Whether she's nurturing her career, her body, her relationships, or her mind, she approaches each area of her life with respect and responsibility. She's not perfect, and she doesn't pretend to be, but she holds herself accountable. When she falls short, she reflects, adjusts, and returns stronger. Without the need for external validation, her self-discipline also shapes how she deals with others. She does not overextend herself to please, nor does she tolerate toxicity out of fear of being alone. She knows when to walk away, when to remain silent, when to fight, and when to rest. She chooses her battles with precision. This is a woman who doesn't waste energy proving herself, because her actions already speak volumes. She knows that self-control is a form of self-respect, and it protects her from being manipulated, distracted, or derailed. A Sigma woman operates with a level of self-discipline that sets her apart. She is not governed by impulse or distraction. She is guided by intention. Every move she makes, every decision she takes, comes from a place of purpose and clarity. While others might be swayed by trends, peer pressure, or fleeting desires, she remains anchored in her long-term vision. She has trained herself to resist the noise, to say no to what doesn't align with her values, and to prioritize what truly matters. This internal structure, this quiet control, is not something she flaunts, but it shows in everything she touches. It's in how she manages her time, how she protects her peace, and how she honors her work, even when no one is watching. This discipline isn't about being rigid. It's about being deeply committed to her evolution. She understands that true freedom requires structure, that success, happiness, and inner peace are built on consistent effort, not chaos. Even those who envy or fear her can't forget her. She is not someone you meet every day. Whether you've shared an hour with her or a lifetime, her presence leaves a mark. It stirs something: curiosity, inspiration, discomfort, even admiration. She challenges others just by being herself. She is a mirror, a mystery, and a reminder that true power doesn't scream. It simply exists, unapologetically. And once you've encountered a Sigma woman, you'll understand what it means when they say, "No one has ever been dangerous like her." That's because she is fully grounded in who she is. She's not performing for the world. She's simply existing in alignment with her truth. And that authenticity creates an aura that others can't quite describe, but are deeply affected by. What makes her so memorable is also how she sees people. She doesn't get lost in small talk or superficial pleasantries. When she listens with intent. When she speaks with depth. People often walk away from conversations with her feeling seen, even if she shared very little about herself. Her energy is healing, her perspective is rare, and her boundaries are firm. She doesn't chase attention, and that's exactly why she receives it. People are drawn to her mystery, her strength, her refusal to fit into molds that make others feel safe. There is something unforgettable about a Sigma woman's presence. It's not loud or flashy, it's magnetic. When she enters a room, people feel her energy before she even speaks. There's a quiet confidence in the way she carries herself, a sense of purpose in her steps, and a calm certainty in her gaze. She doesn't need to command the spotlight to be noticed. The spotlight often finds her because she radiates something deeper than surface level appeal. It's not about beauty or charm, though she may have both. It's about the force she brings with her simply by being fully herself. People remember her not because she tried to impress them, but because she was different from everyone else who did. Her presence lingers. She might only speak a few words, but those words stay with you. She might offer a quiet smile, and yet that moment becomes etched in your memory. She doesn't need constant interaction to make an impact. She can sit in silence and still shift the atmosphere. This authenticity also gives her freedom. Freedom to say no without guilt, to leave situations that no longer serve her, and to live a life that aligns with her spirit rather than social expectation. She knows that living a fake life to please others is a slow death to the soul, so she chooses discomfort over dishonesty, solitude over fake company, and truth over appearances. People often find her presence intense, not because she tries to be, but because she refuses to dim the light for anyone. She is the same woman in every room, on every stage, behind every door. What you see is what you get, and what you get is rare. A woman who would rather be misunderstood than anything other than herself. That alone makes her a rare force in a world so conditioned to conformity. A Sigma woman is unapologetically authentic, and that is one of her most defining traits. She doesn't shape-shift to make others comfortable, nor does she edit herself to fit into society's narrow definitions of what a woman should be. She is who she is, raw, real, and unapologetic. There's no act, no mask, no performance. She walks into every space as herself, fully aware that not everyone will understand her, and completely unbothered by that truth. Her authenticity isn't a rebellion. It's a birthright she refuses to surrender. While many follow trends and chase approval, she follows her inner compass and chases purpose. She's not interested in playing roles for the sake of acceptance. She knows that being liked is not the same as being respected, and she values respect above popularity. She speaks her mind with clarity, not cruelty, and she finds a sense. She stands firm in her truth, even when her voice shakes. And when faced with pressure to conform, she holds the line. That's what makes her resilience so dangerous. It's not loud or dramatic, but it is unshakable. She doesn't announce her comeback. She simply arrives, better than ever, and lets her growth speak for itself. Her resilience also shows in how she sets boundaries. She doesn't allow the past to poison her future. She learns, adapts, and evolves. She may forgive, but she never forgets what it taught her. Her strength is not in pretending things didn't hurt. It's in owning the hurt and growing through it. She understands that healing isn't linear, but she also knows she's responsible for her own peace. She will cry, yes, but she will also rise again and again with fire in her eyes and purpose in her heart. Her resilience is a quiet rebellion against every force that tried to limit her. It is the reason she cannot be controlled, manipulated, or broken. She has already survived what others thought would end her. That alone makes her one of the most dangerous forces you'll ever meet. Resilience is not just a chapter in the story of a Sigma woman. It's the thread that runs through every part of her life. She is not defined by what has happened to her, but by how she has chosen to rise after every fall. Life may have knocked her down, betrayed her trust, broken her heart, or left her in the dark, but each time she stood back up, wiped her tears, and moved forward with more wisdom, more clarity, and more strength. What breaks others only refines her. She does not crumble under pressure, she transforms through it. The pain that could have destroyed her became the fire that shaped her into someone unstoppable. She does not wait for someone else to fix her. She does the work. Quietly, steadily, and without complaint. She doesn't make a spectacle of her struggle. You won't see her broadcasting her pain or seeking sympathy. She heals in silence, rebuilds in private, and returns stronger than anyone expected. She is not triggered by gossip, not shaken by noise, and not swayed by public opinion. In fact, she often sees things more clearly because she watches instead of speaks. While others compete for attention, she remains composed, often outpacing them without even trying. People often misread her silence as weakness or detachment, but that couldn't be further from the truth. She listens because she is observant, not passive. She speaks only when her words add value, not just volume. And when she does speak, when she chooses to engage, every word carries weight. She doesn't perform. She influences. And that influence lingers long after she leaves the room. That's the danger of her quiet strength. It doesn't demand respect. It naturally commands it. Such an individual is uncompromised, in constant touch with her value. And across all fronts, it makes her impactful. It makes her influencing. It's in constant touch. It makes her impactful. It makes her impactful. It makes her in constant touch. It makes her inconstant. Her strength is not in how loud she speaks, but in how deeply she is rooted. A Sigma woman doesn't need to announce her presence. Her energy does it for her. She carries herself with a calm that unsettles the unsteady. There is a gravity in her silence, a weight in her gaze, a message in her stillness. While the world rushes to be seen, she chooses stillness. And somehow, everyone notices. There's something undeniably powerful about a woman who doesn't need to speak to make people listen. Her silence holds more truth than most people's words. This kind of strength can't be faked. It is forged in solitude, shaped by self-awareness, and held steady by emotional control. She doesn't react to everything because she's not here to prove herself to anyone. She knows her worth is not up for debate. Her power lies in restraint, in the deliberate choices she makes. Her independence is rooted in self-respect. It's not born of pain. The pain may have shaped it. It's not born of ego, though confidence may carry it. Her independence allows her to dream freely, love fearlessly, and move forward without waiting for permission. She makes decisions from a place of strength rather than desperation. Her life is not on hold until someone completes her, because she is already complete. She doesn't follow the crowd or seek trends to feel seen. Her uniqueness is her armor. While the world is often uncomfortable with a woman who needs nothing, she is unapologetic about her self-sufficiency. People may misunderstand her, even fear her, but she knows that this path, quiet, focused, and fierce, is not for the faint-hearted. She is proof that a woman standing alone can be more powerful than an army behind her. And that's what makes her dangerous, not because she threatens others, but because she threatens the limits others place on what a woman should be. A Sigma woman's independence isn't just a trait, it's her entire foundation. It's not the kind of independence that seeks rebellion or attention, but rather a deep, unwavering knowing that she is whole on her own. She does not rely on others for validation, status, or purpose. She carves her own path, walks it with her head high, and finds comfort in her own company. While others may fear solitude, she embraces it, not because she dislikes people, but because she understands the value of her time, her energy, and her peace. She chooses her circle with precision. She doesn't cling, doesn't chase, and doesn't beg to be chosen. She knows that anything meant for her will never require her to lose herself.